Welcome to Deng Media. I am Haroon Esmail, and today I'm honoured to be with reporter and filmmaker Rebaz Majeed, where we'll be discussing the corona pandemic in the Kurdistan region. Thank you for joining us, Kak Rebaz.
Thank you for hosting me.
Nah, it's my pleasure. So first question I'd like to ask is, could you just tell us a bit about like how it's been covering the coronavirus situation over the past few months in Kurdistan?
It was a really new development for all of us as journalists, not only in Kurdistan or Iraq, but around the world. We had to make lots of research about this virus. So we are reporters. We have to tell the people about everything. And if we don't have any clue about the virus or about the scientific part of the virus, we cannot be that useful. So we had to make lots of research and learn about the virus at the first place. And it was challenging because even the doctors did not know so much about the virus. So it was something new. So
Yeah.
it was so challenging. And in terms of the restrictions, the government restrictions about the lockdown, the curfew, that was a new thing for us as well. Like caused problems for the journalists, for movement, for mobility.
Uh,
And every every single time when the Ministry of Interior was like publishing a new statement, they were not including the journalists in any of the lines because they were saying journalists are already excluded. But a security personnel would not understand that. He says like, I'm getting that statement, and your journals are not included in the text, so you should not be out. So we had lots of argument with them. There's one problem that every journalist think about and is concerned about, and the thing is, when you finish from working and you go home at
uh,
night, so you have family, you have parents. Uh, my parents are old, for instance, so you are always concerned about bringing the virus back to home. So there were these challenges actually.
who's been responsible for this, this, excellent response to the pandemic?
The credit goes to everyone basically because as Yuval Noah Harari said, the historian and the well-known writer said, when there's a pandemic, that people should trust the government and the government should be very serious about it.
Yeah.
So there should be some sort of collaboration between the government, the society, the institution, the government, and they all should work together and develop a process to overcome the pandemic. So in Kurdistan region, I think that was the case. As journalists, we always follow the corruption, the things with the government, the negative side of the government. But
Yeah.
this time, to be honest, they acted so responsible at the beginning. So
Yeah.
they acted so responsible from the beginning. They put all the restrictions in some countries in Europe. They acted so late. People died and they found out that coronavirus is already here. But in Kurdistan, before coronavirus, before the first case in Iraq gets recorded, they were very ready. They established the labs, everything, the regulations, and everyone that were coming inside from abroad. They were like put them in quarantine and everything. So they were so ready. And when it came to lockdown and to the curfew, people actually uh, sacrificed a lot by staying at home. And you
Yeah.
may know there are many poor people in Iraq and in Kurdistan region, since Iraq is a developing country. So there are many poor people. There are many people who depend on the $20 that he or she makes during a day. So staying at home for 1 month is a big challenge for them. So I think it's a collaboration between the government, the society, everyone together. And I think the credit goes to everyone basically.
It has been quite remarkable. No matter what you think of the powers that are in the KRG, it has been quite remarkable that they've managed to maintain the situation. What do you think needs to happen going forward to maintain the low rate of infection? Are some people still staying at home, or is it kind of like people are going out now? The coast is clear. So yeah, like what do you think needs to happen in the future? Like what do you think people need to do now?
According to the Ministry of Health, according to the doctors, when I talk to them, they say that the threat of coronavirus is not over. Coronavirus is still a threat to all of us, and it can come back anytime. So they advise people to keep the social distancing, to wear mask, glasses, gloves, everything, and to stay at home as much as possible. And this, lifting the ban partially in Kurdistan region does not mean that we are over it, we are okay, so we are normal. Actually, the doctors say that until we find a vaccine or a cure or anything in the world, the coronavirus is not over anywhere in the world. So we are always under the threat of coronavirus everywhere in the world, in all the countries. So including Kurdistan region, whether we have no COVID-19 patients, like everything. If you control it, if you do like any regulations, still there's a threat to start again because we don't know. For instance, yesterday a guy from Kafri was tested positive. He was a student from Russia. He came back to Iraq, so to Baghdad International Airport. I'm not sure if he was in quarantine or not, but he came to Baghdad and he came to Kurdistan region from there. So there was nothing. But at the border of Kurdistan, they checked him and they tested him, and the test turned out to be positive. So there's always a threat for someone to come inside, get other people's infected, because as you may know, like mostly in 4 2 weeks, but there are some cases that some patients had no symptoms until 28 days. So there might be a person with the virus, delivering it to other people, and he or she does not know about having the virus. So there's always a threat.
Do you know anything about? Are you aware of any package or anything that the KRG's introduced or is going to introduce?
There are a lot of poor people here. For instance, in Soleimani, I think around 350,000 people are under the line of poverty in a city with like 1.5 million population. So we have a huge number of poor people in Kurdistan region in Iraq. It was around $50 million to spend $50 million for the poor families in Iraq who are affected by the curfew and the lockdown. So that's the policy. Actually, the Iraqi Kurdistan government also asked the Baghdad government to give them some of that money so they can distribute it to the poor people in Iraqi Kurdistan as well.
Question that many people would want to know is the situation for the students in the KRG. If they are going back, when
there
will
are
they go
two options. Until May 2nd. So I think like 1 week from, I don't know, May 2nd. Yeah. If the Ministry of Health said that, okay, the situation is under control, everything is normal, and students can go back to school. This is according to the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. So the students can go back to campus and continue studying. But if not, then all universities should apply the online system. That's why the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research gave the power to all the universities, including public and private universities, to regulate the process the way they like, with any application, with any website, with any form. They can do it, so there's no restriction regarding that. And as you may know, many people do not have fast and good internet in Iraq, in Kurdistan region. So that's why the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research in Kurdistan has asked all the companies related to internet to prepare special packages for teachers, professors, and students, which is fast and cheap, so it can be affordable for all students.
Yeah. Just one last question. So what would you say? We've entered the holy month of Ramadan, and people like to go for night prayers and at the mosques and stuff. Do you know, are mosques still closed? Are they opened? Do you know what the situation is with the mosques in the region?
It's all mosques in Kurdistan region are now closed, but many people, because of Ramadan, because of their personal beliefs, many of them gather in parks in front of the mosques and continue to perform jama'ah prayer.
Yeah.
So and they have several demonstration protests and asking the government to open the mosques, since they open bazaars, shops everywhere. So they also should open the mosques since everyone is out. They believe that there's no excuse for not opening the mosques. So there was a debate going on, and there were some meetings between the Ministry of Religious Affairs and Ministry of Health, and finally they decided to open the mosques on May 2nd for all Muslims, but there will be some restrictions which enforce the Muslims to protect themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely. Rebaz, it's been a honor to have you on. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you very
listening.
much.